Good afternoon from San Francisco. It's shortly after 1300 here, 1 p.m. Pacific. We are back in the saddle again. Julia Vedekint, my co-host, and the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, a longtime St. Francis member. And, of course, I'm your host, Tom Eamon, the Tom and Julia Show, representing ostensibly the Balboa Yacht Club as people are checking in from around the world. It looks like Peter Stevenson, the first one on. Tough choice. Watch SI, watch the soccer football, or have a beer. I will do all three from Amsterdam. He's not in his native Australia.
We could do all three from here.
We could indeed. Emmett's on. John Emmett, I'm out of habit seeing the show. Yeah, it's been a month. We took a nice sabbatical. Greg Phillips in Oz on the Gold Coast. Greetings and welcome back. Ed Worley saying hello to everybody. And just so you know, we have the game up here on our monitor, our big studio monitor here, and we will keep monitoring the game. Now, we know that Commodore Harrington, Julia, is cheering for Ghana because she has her houseman, longtime friend, and who took care of her late husband when he was in tough tough health situation. And Michael is from Ghana, and she is cheering for Ghana, probably the only one on here that is. Most everybody else will be cheering for the Brits here, England versus Ghana in that game. Thank everybody for being happy about us coming back. As Claire is saying, Commodore Harrington, welcome to the land of the living.
Yes.
Clay Dembley, greetings to Tom and Julia and the Fozzie, sitting in the wheelhouse as usual with his Labrador Retriever.
Puppies,
indeed, Julia.
Oh, good.
Welcome back, Peter Taylor says. Ted Ryman also says hello and welcome back. We did have a nice sabbatical.
We did.
There were all sorts of rumors that you'd gone to the hospital, that
Yes.
I had a heart attack. You don't plan a sabbatical and then take, 2 days later have a heart attack. I mean,
No.
I don't know where all these rumors come from. Let's get to the starting line for today's
Yes.
show, number 933, and it's a full show. When Julia came down here, I said, this better be, buckle up, be ready. Happy Tuesday, everybody, and happy Fiesta de San Juan. You know what that is? And it's especially when we lived in Spain the 10 years, my late great wife, Leslie and Meg, it was a great festival to celebrate, and it's celebrated in Spain and beyond. Bravo Zulu to our Fozzie Justin Callahan, who's won another hotly contested Snipe Nationals at the Severn Sailing Association in Annapolis. Blackjack is the first to finish in the 54th Newport Bermuda race, which goes back to 1906. Coaching corner, John Emmett. He's back in windy Weymouth again and staying positive. He's maybe the most positive guy of all of our Super Fozzie and maybe in our large Sailing Illustrated audience. Bravo Zulu to the Taser class for their largest and arguably best worlds yet. They had over 100 boats in Okinawa. We got a report from Alistair Murray about all that. And it's an ambitious report because you'll be, I think, pleasantly surprised what he and his bride are doing post-Taser Worlds.
Oh.
It's really, so I was impressed.
Yeah.
Bravo Zulu, Julia, to your favorite Sail GP team, Los Gallos from Spain. They prevailed in Halifax in what turned out to be the league's first 4-boat final, which has been saluted by any number of you.
Mm-hmm.
Rusty, you know who Rusty is, Julia?
No.
Russell Coots. He's called Rusty in some. He had a rant at the media a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to play it.
Okay.
And Magnus, the Magnificent, we think is off Russell's Christmas card list again after that rant. And then we'll do an AC-38 Cup date. Luna Rosa finally has sailed their remodeled AC-75 in Cagliari. And then the next AC preliminary regatta in Naples has been announced for the 27 September.
Okay.
Last leg, I misspelled there, the graphics department. That should be tribute to the late, great Charlie Delon, who was far too young, and he had a long battle with cancer. He passed away a couple weeks ago. So sad news there. This day in history, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and of course, Julia.
Our fantastic Fozy.
Our fantastic Fozy indeed. How's the game going?
0-0.
We'll keep an eye on it, as everybody is. And, Ghana's not highly ranked, but you never know. Have you enjoyed this World Cup? Have you been watching any of the games?
I listened to all of them with the TV on.
You got one eye on your computer and one ear on your
Yeah.
TV. I have been pleasantly surprised how much fun, how good the games have been, how the U.S. has embraced it.
And how they have embraced the U.S.
All these foreign visitors,
It's been
tourists.
so much fun.
It has indeed. So good stuff. I hope it continues. Oops, there's a foul. Huh? I don't know anything about officiating football, soccer, but as an old hockey referee, I wouldn't call a damn thing until somebody got raped, practically. But it's been a lot of fun to watch. And my two countries are through to the next round, the USA. And who's my other country? Who's my other country, Julia?
England.
Norway.
Norway.
Yeah, they've had a good go. In fact, that guy, that big tall guy, I can't remember his name, is fabulous. Great soccer player he is.
Yes.
Sailing Illustrated, this is our show. We call Yacht Racing News, Views, and Notables. And we're back at it with our show at not 9:32, it's actually 9:33. And we'll, by and by, Julia, get to show number 1,000.
Yes.
And what are we celebrating today? Well, after a 10-year stint, run of almost twice, hardly taking any time off, 2 shows a week, we did take a month off. We had a sabbatical, as many of you will know, and
out where a
we're
friend
back.
is a friend.
Back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle again.
Feet on the lowly Timpson weed. I'm back.
Who
in
sang
the
that? Do you
saddle
remember?
again.
Oh, yeah.
Riding the range
So we're
once
resuming
more.
Sailing Illustrated after our first break in 10 years. We took the break from the 19th of May to the 23rd of June. I promised you we'd be back on the air on June 23rd. And God and the internet willing, we have made that.
Yes.
And we did have, in fact, a relaxing and refreshing sabbatical.
Yes.
Totally relaxing, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Did you relax? Did you get some time to contemplate? And you were buying, Elon Musk's.
Yeah, I was immersed totally in learning more and more about IPOs and the stock market and where it's going.
You're already, as my dad would say, farting through silk. So you're going to make even more money. Well, then you can charter that plane and start flying the Fozy around.
Providing I don't lose a lot of money with the old stuff.
Well, you never know. Now, do you see in the studio here, Julia, above you, there's a new addition to the studio. Above you.
Oh, there.
You recognize that Burgee?
Oh, no. No.
Let me get down there. You don't recognize that?
Mm-mm.
That, Burgee, is the Portage Yacht Club.
Oh,
My home club in Michigan.
lovely.
Your friend and my brother, Paul Eamon, sent that
Oh, good.
Burgee to us, so we'd have it in the studio alongside the Beach Street Yacht Club Burgee.
Right.
So that's a little friends and family notification here at the start of the show. I also want to say that my daughter, while we are on sabbatical, daughter Meg, Meg Eamon Schreberg, has had her first child, as far as she knows. They named, well, that's what I have to say.
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody have to say that?
No.
That's first. Do you have any, how many kids do you have? As far as I know, I have one.
It's easier for a man to say than a woman.
Well, you never know. An alien might come down and pluck your eggs.
Yes, dear.
and,
Yes, dear. Yes,
some
dear.
of
I
those
know.
sci-fi films. But
Yeah.
Meg, on the 28th of May, had a girl, Eve. They've named it, she and her husband, Aaron. Eve Audrey, which is my late great wife's mother's middle name, Audrey Schreberg, and they are calling her
Evie.
Evie.
That's nice.
And the kid, the APGAR score was nearly perfect. The kid's doing fine. Meg's doing fine. Her husband, Aaron, is doing fine. The kid's got its eyes open. Evie's got her eyes open. And she's just been a delight. They're having a ball down at their home in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And here is her first. She uttered her first phrase here the other day, already at just a couple months, not even a month old. And she said, "Hi, Grandpa Tom." And if you believe that, you'd believe anything we tell you here.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice. Congratulations, Meg and Aaron. And what else are we celebrating today, Julia?
Well, I have to find out.
Okay, well, it is remember I said the Fiesta de San Juan?
Yeah.
St. John's Eve is tonight.
And
Tomorrow is
Evie.
Yeah, Eve and Evie, exactly. But it's St. John's Eve. It's a night filled with vibrant energy and deep symbolism. It marks a special moment celebrating the birth tomorrow of John the Baptist, one of the few saints honored on their birthday, not on their death.
Now, why is that?
I don't know, but popular guy because he apparently paved the way for Jesus. The night pulses with life. I mean, this is a fantastic evening in Spain and beyond. The night pulses with life, people lighting bonfires that spark joy and warmth in many communities across the world. In Spain, the event is referred to, as I mentioned, the Fiesta de San Juan. These fires aren't just a spectacular sight, they're believed to hold protective power.
Oh, we need that.
And we do indeed. Warding off evil spirits and bringing blessings. The festive air also comes alive with music, dancing, and shared meals, creating a space where people come together and enjoy the company of their neighbors and loved ones. We always, in Spain, went to the beach on St. John's Eve, and it was, light the fire, and there's a tradition of jumping in the water at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
This has its roots in ancient Christian tradition. It honors the birth, as we said, of St. John the Baptist, an important figure who prepared the way for Jesus Christ. The celebration typically takes place the evening before his feast day, tonight, marking one of the few times a saint's birth, as we mentioned, rather than the death, is commemorated.
Mm-hmm.
Early Christian communities began celebrating this event around the 4th or 5th century. They chose to tie it to the summer solstice, blending religious significance with the changing seasons. And if you're near, this is the water connection. We always celebrated at La Playa, at a nearby beach when we lived in Spain. If you're near a river or sea, a dip at midnight might be just the thing to cleanse and refresh. Some traditions say a swim on St. John's Eve washes away bad luck.
Oh, good.
And if you can't get to the water, even dipping your toes in will do the trick, especially if you have a big pool in the backyard. We always went to the beach with Niccolo Porzio and Benedetta and his wife, his kids, and we always had a lot of fun. And Julia,
Yes.
if I didn't have a video,
Be sister.
after a month off, you would think
I would.
poorly of me. That was a rather unceremonious end to that video because it then went into some kind of an ad. But that picture is what we did, as I've said, in Spain. It was a great celebration in June. It's warm and a fantastic tradition. A lot of comments in here welcoming us back after a month, and thanks to all of you for your kind comments. Clayton Embley is saying, hi, my ex-girlfriend once said to me, Patrick, I want us to have children. I thought, who is Patrick? Then I remembered that I never used my real name.
Oh, that's lovely.
And of course, it was Gene Autry who was singing Back in the Saddle Again. We've used that before, I think, after we had a bit of a break. And everybody's on. The comments are working. And so that's great to hear for everybody. What else are we celebrating? Back on the World Cup for a minute. I mean, this game yesterday, this guy there, number 10, is, I'm sure you all know who that is, at least, well, even the Americans, after all the ink he's gotten here in the last couple days. That, of course, is Mr. Messi from Argentina, who yesterday scored 2 goals, making him the top goal scorer in World Cup history 2 days before his 39th birthday.
Yes.
He gets a 17th
And he did look good.
17th and 18th career World Cup goals, breaking a tie with Germany striker Miroslav Klose for the most in tournament history. He does indeed look good. And I think it's been fantastic to see him, see the big Norwegian dude, the rest. We'll see how Ronaldo do. And he's playing, I think, tonight, aren't they? But it's been fun. The U.S. seems to have embraced it. And as Julia said, the tourists seem to have embraced the U.S., which has made this something else. We are celebrating on our return back for show number 933 after a month off. And we're also saying bravo Zulu to any number of people. We're not going to cover everything that has happened in the last month, but we do want to give some praise to a few people, in particular our Fozy, where appropriate. This on the back driving this snipe is our Fozy, Justin Callahan, Collegiate Sailor of the Year, again, academic and yada, yada. The kids won the World Youth Champion, Match Racing Champs. He's won the Gov Cup. He's an amazingly good sailor, and he's just won the Snipe Nationals, which is a hotly contested class here in the U.S. It's his second time winning the Snipes. He was sailing with Trevor Davis, who is a local where it was raced on Chesapeake Bay at the Severn Sailing Association in Annapolis. And after 4 days of challenging conditions, close competition, and this class is a family class for almost 100 years. I mean, decades, a fabulous class. Justin and Trevor clinched the title with a race to spare, winning their second Snipe National Championship. And here's a quick interview.
Hi, I'm Trevor Davis.
I'm Justin Callahan, and we just won the 2026 Snipe Nationals. Hey, thanks.
Well, it feels good because it's at our home club, my home club at SSA. And we had nice conditions the past 4 days. How's it feel different than the last 2 years ago?
Feels great. It was close here going into the last day. We had 5 points with us and Ernesto and Andrea, and we had some glamour conditions today, 12 to 15 knots, and put up 2 bullets to seal it, so could not be more happy for this moment, and for Trevor pulling all the lines in front of me, just making us be an absolute rocket ship.
Modest, bright, humble, a Fozy. His dad, Paul, and his mom and his brother all have become good friends. Bravo Zulu, guys, and they're going on to the Snipe Worlds. There's all sorts of things that they're going to compete.
That's a great
in.
logo.
What, the Snipe logo?
Yeah.
The American, the USA Snipe class. Clark Chapin is, I was thinking the same thing when we were talking about Messi. I'll bet Paul Kayard could score a World Cup goal or 2 at his age. And Ronaldo, apparently, according to Fritz Mueller, thanks Fritz down in Miami, said that he played this afternoon and got 2 goals.
Wow.
So
I know he's playing soon, but it's...
So great stuff going on here. One last picture of the guys with their trophy. Bravo Zulu to Justin and Trevor Davis. And I guess I don't know for sure, but he looks like the Commodore of the Severn Sailing Association. I don't know his name, but that's a great club next door to the Annapolis Yacht Club. That's where the late, great Dr. Stuart Walker sailed out of, the SSA. In Annapolis. Also, while we were off, last Friday was the start of the 54th Newport to Bermuda race. They moved the start. It used to be outside,
Yes,
by past Castle Hill and out in the open in Rhode Island Sound.
Right.
And I think this is the second time. Claire Harrington, if she's on, she was a minute ago, will remind us, but they moved it inside and are starting right off Fort Adams, as you can see here, near the Newport Pell Bridge. And it was a spectacular, if Andy Rose were on, I'd say champagne conditions.
I went, oh.
Just to bug him. And it was a fabulous event by all the start, by all accounts. It was a pretty bumpy, rough ride. This race, they call themselves the longest continuously running offshore race, having started in 1906. And the race originally ran from New York to Bermuda. And then when New York Yacht Club moved up to Newport in the 30s, this race eventually followed. So it's been going on for a long time. And this start was spectacular. The start is at the Newport end, is run by the New York Yacht Club. Cruising Club of America and the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club are the overall organizing authority. And bravo Zulu to the New York Yacht Club Race Committee, who again, by all accounts, did a spectacular job, including our super Fozy Claire Harrington, second from the left. And Claire had this to say about that. Of all the Newport to Bermuda race starts I've done, she was the deputy PRO for this one, but I think she's been the PRO in the past. 2026 was by far the best.
Wow.
Great wind, competitive fleets, yachts of every flavor, just an amazing day. And here is, they're doing a good job of the TV too, as well. Each day they're putting out a report, and I'm taking, today was day 3 of these reports, but I'm going to take the day 1 report because it reports on the start and kind of the early conditions in the race.
This is your daily news from the Newport Bermuda Racecourse, presented by Palm Beach Motor Yachts.
Hi, I'm Lauren Zeich, host of the Gulfstream Show, powered by Palm Beach Motor Yachts. Today is day 1. Day 1 really started yesterday when we had the starting line live show, watching over 150 boats cross the starting line in front of big crowds at Fort Adams. We followed the fleet down the bay, out into the Sound, and through the wind farm. That's when we caught up to our first boat, Res Potentia. This is a double-handed boat. We continued to weave our way through the fleet, finding boats along the way. I think my favorite view was probably Dorade, because the sun was perfectly behind all of their sails up, and the seas were really causing a great visual effect. We continued on to sunset, where we found that sailors had already started their nap routine. When we got to the double-handed boat Alchemy, there was no one on deck, and it was just the autopilot steering. However, we gave a toot to the horn, and someone came on deck to give us a wave. Everybody, the fleet and this boat, settled in for the night. When I got up for my 4:30 watch, I was greeted with a beautiful sunrise and sails on the horizon. I saw that it was Scowling Dragon with Mike Hennessy aboard. We continued on finding other boats, Velocity, and even OC-86. That's the Oak Cliff boat that brings kids to sea. We were really impressed by their speeds. They were making 16.7 knots, so were we. And when we got up to them, we found their spinnaker flying proudly, which is why they were going so fast. In a moment, I'm going to head over to the helm, where CEO and founder of Palm Beach Motor Yachts, Mark Richards, who is also the skipper of Palm Beach 11, is at the wheel.
Hey Lauren, well look, we're halfway between Newport and Bermuda, approaching the Gulf Stream on a beautiful morning, and yeah, surfing down a few nice waves and loving life. Yeah, the conditions today and overnight, it was obviously fantastic sailing conditions. 6 to 8 foot seas, you know, bit of breeze, bit bumpy, but it's Palm Beach 70 is obviously handling it beautifully. We're cruising along at 20, surfing at 24 knots down these waves, and yeah, trying to catch up Dawn Riley right now. But it was a nice evening. Yeah, look, the characteristics of the Palm Beach 70, it's a wonderful ocean-going boat, you know, and the whole concept of our brand is to be sort of high-speed cruising. We can cruise along here at an average of 20 knots, you know, very fuel efficiently, and going from Newport to Bermuda on 3/4 of a tank of fuel's a pretty big deal at these speeds. So it's makes the journey a lot more pleasant, obviously half the time, and yeah, she's handling the conditions beautifully.
So you may remember that's Mark Richards, who was since forever has been the captain of Wild Oats,
Yes.
the various boats
I didn't
that
remember,
have always
but yeah.
been in the top contention for the Sydney Hobart.
Right.
And he now has started or has joined this Palm Beach Motor Yachts, and of course Waxy Wild Oats 11 is now named Palm Beach, I guess 11, isn't it? Whatever it's named. And he's up there in Newport and promoting that beautiful boat and driving out to Bermuda from Newport in a power boat. Pedro Foiling Sailor, Palm Beach Motor Yachts, a great Australian company.
Uh-huh.
And what else? Fishbeck's not being serious. Dawn sets the pace, yeah, except for Blackjack. Dawn Riley, you heard the lady mention Dawn and their 86-footer, which is the old WindQuest. And they have had great breeze. The only other comment I see here is from John Schaefer, who I had a brief back and forth with this morning. He says, hello from Bermuda. The last time I was here was a bad experience. I got married.
No.
Okay, so where is the fleet? Well, most of the fleet by now have they hit a light patch, and it's been very light going for the last 12, 18, maybe 24 hours for a lot of the fleet. But most of them have piled into Bermuda. And of course, the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club is the co-host, one of the two, along with the Cruising Club of America, the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club in Hamilton. And on Friday, we'll do the corrected times and the winners based on handicap. But Blackjack 100.
Nice to see her go back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Tristan Lebrun, who's the skipper, but it's owned by this guy who's a Dutch guy living in the Netherlands called Riemann Vos. And they didn't break the record. They didn't break Comanche's record of some years ago, but they had a good run. And it was amazing the job they did getting down there, given the conditions. Raymond Voss's boat, Blackjack 100, and he's there behind the backstay there on the left. You can barely hear his face is cut in half by the backstay over here. I believe that's him. And I went to do a little research. There's a better picture of him, young guy. He is the co-founder and CEO of the Prague, meaning the Czech Republic, Prague-based CTP, a publicly traded logistics and industrial real estate firm in Central and Eastern Europe. It's the second largest developer and owner of industrial real estate in Europe, with properties in 10 companies.
Good for
10
him.
countries, rather. And here's a guy who started out, cleaning the floor of a hair salon, according to Forbes magazine, where I got some of this info from, in the Netherlands. And then he ended up in Prague and marrying a lady there, and bravo Zulu to him.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, that's going to be our big story. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, Julie, let's have John Emmett's report. John's been posting stuff on the Sailing Illustrated Facebook page.
He has.
Reels, shorts, great stuff.
Yeah.
And today we have an actual report as we are back in the saddle. John Emmett.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. It's absolutely fantastic to have the Sailing Illustrated show back, and it's fantastic to have the wind back in Weymouth. Seems to have been missing quite recently, but there's always lots of sailing to be had. And personally, I've tremendously enjoyed watching the Sail GP. Now, I think the first thing we have to say is foiling boats, in my humble opinion, look much better when they're foiling. And on the first day of racing, I felt tremendously sorry for Group A, because it felt like Group B always got the win. But the conditions is something completely beyond our control, and I really enjoyed the final two races. And it was good to even see some match racing between the Spanish and the Kiwis in the group stages. So I think it's so easy to be critical, especially of high performance sailing, when perhaps the conditions aren't playing ball. But I can tell you that was one of the best finals I've watched, and I can't wait to see more Sail GP. Let's try and keep a positive action on the sport. Let's try and promote the sport to the outside. We're all disappointed when the wind doesn't play ball. And perhaps the most important thing is you can share this content not only to sailors but to non-sailors. And for those who've got the opportunity, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
Nice.
Yes.
Good stuff. Now, because this is the drinking show with a sailing habit, we have another report from John.
Yes.
And this report is the volunteer action at his club there in Weymouth, the Castle Cove Sailing Club.
Right.
And he had to cut this report today, cut it a bit short because he had to go open the bar at the Castle. You think I'm kidding?
No, I don't.
At the Castle Cove
I know
Sailing
that's. I
Club.
remember that's true.
Welcome to Bar Training with John Emmett. If anyone's having problems sleeping, this is the video for you. But we're just going to go and look at what we need to do to open up the bar. So the magic key will let you into the galley. And in here we have the safe. Now, I could tell you the code, but then I'd have to kill you, so I won't do that. But if you've got a bar duty, you'll be able to find the code. The link to it is on the email you've been sent. So beep, 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 beep. Keys. Here's the washer. Very important that you put the plug in before you start and take the plug out at the end of the day. And if you just turn it on, it'll be warm and lovely in about half an hour. And now we're going to go into the cellar. Turn everything on. So pop them all on. Got a little turn down here. So we have this in line for the gold. We have all the balls at the top. Any doubt, you need to release the catch to send them to the top. You can check the airflow because they can be isolated. And the main gas canister, and we're going to be getting some more of those, is just here, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. And of course, this will be in another video. We turn everything off at the end of the night. The moment of truth, we're going to go into the, we're going to try and go into the bar. Keys, don't lose these. They live in the little lighthouse. We're going to turn the lights on. And before we do anything else, ice maker needs to go on and just put in a couple of glasses of water. And again, at the end of the evening, you're going to be looking at emptying that out. But you put 2 glasses in there. And now we're ready to open up the bar. Can we remember where we left the keys? Let's get this bar properly open. Lots of happy customers. So we're normally going to put out 1 sum up and 1 tab working on each side. So at busy times, we can have 2 people working behind the bar. Also, we'll put some beer here from the boxes. Very easy, alphabetical order, but the top 4 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, are going to correspond with the pumps. So top tip is if you're working behind the bar and you might be on your own, try and get your food in early while people are out racing because you might not get a chance later.
Now, how many clubs have basically all volunteer staff, including the bartender?
Not many, but I do know a couple.
Yeah, indeed. The old Golden Gate Yacht Club days, it was basically volunteers down there. Yeah. And on January 1st here at the St. Francis Yacht Club, that's a club is closed and members run the potluck and run the bar, but that's one day of the year.
Yeah.
John Emmett, that's a great report. That's a Coaching Corner Extra. How many sailing shows, Julia, have ever run a report on how to open a yacht club bar at an esteemed club like Castle Cove Sailing Club?
I know, and it's important, and everybody who knows a club like that agrees.
You never know what you're going to get here on Sailing Illustrated.
Well, it is the drinking habit, you know.
It is. And John Emmett's sailing, that's his report. Thanks again, John. We always say at the end of his report that it's important that all of us continue to push for Paralympic sailing in the Brisbane Games 2032. Hopefully that is going to happen. And I know the Aussies are working hard on it. World Sailing is working hard on it. We hope that any of you have any influence in the sailing world at that level, please do give it the push because we need it. Our sport needs to be back in the Paralympics, even as if it's only a demonstration event. That'll be fine too, but we'd rather be in permanently. It's a tough ask because any sport that's been excused from further participation, as Claire would say, in the Paralympics has never been invited back. But we hope we're going to change that.
Yes.
Here in the world of yacht racing, of sailboat racing. John Schaefer says, I can give a report on how to close a bar. And Steve Gruber is saying, I'm going to volunteer to be at the bar. So that's a good show, too. Okay, Julia. I thought it would be nice to have Alistair Murray's report up front since we've been away for a month and haven't heard from Alistair. So here is the waltzing Matilda, played by the Royal Naval Band, the usual introductory song for Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. But before we get to that, I thought we should report on the Taser Worlds, which took place the 4th through the 12th of June in Okinawa, of course, in Japan. And it was a huge event and a hugely successful event. The Taser Worlds hosted at Okuma Private Beach and Resort in Kunigami Village, Okinawa, concluded on the 12th of June after 9 days of competition. A long regatta.
Yes.
The championship attracted a record, get this, record fleet of 117 boats from 6 countries, making one of the largest Taser. I used to sail a Taser.
Did you?
Yeah, Leslie and I used to race a Taser. Taser World Championship ever held. Competitors faced a wide range of conditions throughout the event, including strong winds, heavy rain, a day lost to tsunami advice. Remember that quake?
Right.
And challenging light air races influenced by strong tidal currents. Despite the demanding conditions, the regatta concluded safely without any major incidents. It was won by an American whom I don't know the overall title, to Dalton Bergen and I guess his wife, Lindsay Bergen of, I believe, Seattle, who prevailed in a closely contested battle at the top of the leaderboard to become the new Taser World Champions. And they were in a big battle with former world champions Jonathan McKee and his wife, Libby Johnson McKee. Jonathan is a 2-time Olympic medalist for the U.S. and one of our sport's most respected sailor, hell of a good sailor, also from Seattle Yacht Club. And they led the standings during the early stages of the regatta and remained in contention for the title until the final day. Third place went to a Japanese gentleman, and finishing third, the highest placed Japanese team, Kazushi Ito and Yasuaki Muragishi Ito, also he served, Ito, that is, served as the chairman of the organizing committee and still managed to finish third. He reflected on the achievement, quote, "To be honest, my overwhelming feeling is one of relief." I believe it. I'm absolutely delighted to have stood on the podium against some of the best sailors in the world. I think he was also the top master, one of the oldest guys in the fleet. So bravo Zulu to the event, to the class. And there are the top 15, Julia.
Yes. And
you see the SGM Master and, I don't know, Senior Grandmaster, whatever, Serious Grandmaster.
Heather McCartan.
And you see who's down there at the very bottom in 15th place on a 100-plus boat fleet. Alistair, our super Fozy Alistair Murray, sailing with Kyoko Kono on Al Capitan. And bravo Zulu to him.
Oh, absolutely.
And his crew, because Alistair doesn't speak Japanese. And apparently his crew, from what I was texting with Alistair earlier this week, and over the weekend, and his crew didn't speak English. So pointing to the boom thing and pointing to it took on new meaning. But they did well, and they had a couple of tough finishes later in the regatta, or would have even done better. So bravo Zulu to Alistair.
I'm proud of both of them.
Exactly. And with that, Julia, we have Alistair's latest AAAA.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. Well, here I am in Japan at the end of, following the Taser Worlds. I'm here with Tracy. We're going for a walk. Hi, Trace. Yeah. And what a way to close out a sailing holiday. We've been on the Nakasendo walk, which is a 5-day walk, which is actually a little less than that. Been doing about 15 Ks a day. and we're basically walking the mountains from down near Nagoya, back up towards Matsumoto, and then Tokyo and home in a few days. Well, I've got to say, life's good. Brilliant sailing regatta, enjoyed it immensely. Followed up with an outdoor adventure like this. It's life's worth living. And just speaking quickly about Japan, I just want to say, Tracy and I think the rest of the world could learn a lot from the Japanese about grace, humility, manners, hospitality, helpfulness, humour, you name it. It's been pretty good, hasn't it, Trace? Yeah. And, the food, oh my God. Put on about 8 kilos, I don't know, who cares? Anyway, I just want to say g'day to all the Fozy. I'm just watching where I'm stepping because Tracy was paranoid I was going to go arse over tit. I don't think that's going to happen, or I hope not, but I'll just close out and say just a quick message. Looking forward to having Tom and Julia back online. I'm glad, Tom, that you resisted all of those calls, or those urges of your own to reconvene earlier. I'm pleased that you made it through to the 23rd and that you've enjoyed your holiday, because you know what? Everybody needs a vacation, everybody needs a break, and you and Julia deserve it as much as anybody. Sail GP this weekend is about to be on in Halifax, and also I see that the bloody Yanks beat us in the soccer last night, which doesn't particularly worry me, but well done, America. Okay, guys, that's it from me at the end of a wonderful sailing and walking holiday. Cheers, bye.
15 kilometers a day for give or take 5. I guess he's doing it in less than 5 days. That's a long walk.
It is. It is.
Fantastic. Well done, Alistair and Tracy.
And Tracy.
Yeah, and Groover says, I've never seen anyone with 3 pairs of eyeglasses in their collar. I limit myself to 2. Same for me. I have my reading glasses, which I really don't need, except for doing the show. It helps to see the fine print, and my sunglasses. But Alistair did have 3 there, I guess. Were there really 3? Maybe distance glasses and reading glasses.
Sunglasses.
And sunglasses. The fabulous AAAA. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote is back. Thanks, Alistair, and we'll do his outro music just because I love it so much.
Yes.
And that's one of these songs you can go anywhere in the world, whether you're doing sailing or soccer or anything else, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to sing it.
Yeah.
Like Country Roads, you saw the other night, they were singing Country Roads, and who was it? The Scottish or somebody at a bar somewhere, and the whole place was singing. Country Roads.
The stadium was singing.
The stadium. This has been so much fun. It's still 0-0. Still 0-0. 42 minutes into the game. Seems, well, that's because we're 42 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
And it's been dominated by England, to be fair, in terms of passing and the number of minutes in the offensive zone for the Brits. And we'll see how that goes. We'll keep you posted. Several of you, no doubt, are watching it as well on one of your monitors. And it's a good thing we have a few monitors here in the studio.
I know.
Julie. People make fun of me for all these monitors, but they're all being used. They all have a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, Viva España. Let's go to the Sail GP. That's our main focus today, our main event. And I've got the 2-minute and 15-second recaps from both day 1 and day 2. Let's do day 1 first. This was Halifax last weekend. Mora was up there. Didn't I see a note from Mora Stevens? Yeah, Mora Stevens. The finishes were amazing, especially seeing them in person. She lives up there in Nova Scotia. And this, of course, was in Halifax. Here's the day 1 recap.
A record-breaking sellout in 2024, Sail GP returned to Halifax for the Canada Sail Grand Prix. But with light, shifting breeze across the harbor, day 1 became a test of tactics, patience, and precision. With racing moved to a split fleet format, each group had just 2 races to make their mark.
Yeah, all that matters is how you do in your group.
In Group A, the Bonds Flying Roos set the tone.
I have no idea how the Bonds Flying Roos got to that mark first.
Tom Slingsby and team found pressure where others struggled keeping the boat moving, getting up on the foils and taking control.
Yeah, it's a great race for the Australians.
Then in Group B, Explorer Swiss delivered a statement win.
Can any of the teams nail a foiling manoeuvre?
They didn't lead off the start, but they found the breeze, nailed 2 critical foiling maneuvers, and came through when it mattered the most.
Explorer Swiss are just loving it. They're throwing the boat around. Another foiling tack there on board.
And they will claim the win in race number 1 for Group B. Back in Group A, Australia did it again. The Blackfoils pushed them all the way, but the Flying Roos held on in a drag race to the line, making it 2 wins from 2. In Group B, Artemis came out firing, nailing the start, and showing just how quickly the team were adapting to the shifting conditions. With Emirates GBR the only team able to keep it close.
Oh, Todd, I thought you called that a bit early then.
With only the top 2 teams from each group making it into Sunday's final, the Bonds Flying Roos are dominating Group A, while the Blackfoils have shown strong form on their return to the league. In Group B, Artemis and the Explorer Swiss team have put themselves firmly in the fight. And for the home team Canada, they will need to come out swinging on Sunday if they want to give the fans something to cheer about. It's still all to play for here in Halifax.
All to play for. You get tired of hearing that. Now, that was day 1.
Day 1, yeah.
And before we get into day 2, we should talk about what happened before the racing on day 2. You remember the Team Emirates GBR.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing their typical warm-up, according to Dylan Fletcher, and they were doing their typical warm-up laps. And in a barrelway around the top mark, we lost the rudders. This is the start before the racing on day 2, before Sunday. And the boat spun round out of control into the jibe, and we broke the wing, as you will have seen there.
Yeah.
In this photo before I covered it up with this text. That's a quote from Dylan. Quote, continues, we need to look into exactly what happened, but ultimately we lost the rudders. Likely 3 flaps on the wing broken and the wheel broke as well, but all sailors were safe. So, Julia, they, needless to say, were unable to race on Sunday.
Right.
But we have the video of what actually happened. Have a look.
Wow. Ooh.
It's a T-foil on the rudder.
Right, and down correct. Three.
That's why you wear a helmet, so when the boom comes across.
Everyone okay? Yeah. Everyone okay? No wheel my side, no wheel my side.
Oh.
I'm going to play it again. Look at this flex on the rudder. Slow-mo.
Right, and down correct. Three.
Watch the guy's head forward when the boom comes across.
Ooh, ouch.
Oh, man. Yeah, that could
Everyone okay? Yeah. Everyone okay? No wheel my side, no wheel my side.
scary. But as Dylan said, nobody was hurt, so I don't know. SailGP, there's some thinking, there's some accusations that they're more into this kind of crash and burn scenario than they are into the actual racing. And we'll cover that in a minute because it's been, since we were off for a month, there's been a bit of controversy, as the Brits would say, Julia.
Even without us.
And Dolly Devola sent that video. Thanks, Dolly, one of our super fozy in Australia. The racing on the second day was fantastic, including the final race. This is one of the earlier races in the groups where you can see Denmark and Spain and who was it? I think New Zealand down there on the left. And here is the 2-minute 15 recap.
After a light and tactical day one, Halifax delivered more breeze and more drama on day two. With 2 fleet races for each group, only the top 2 from each side would make the final. Before racing even began, Emirates GBR were out.
Everyone okay?
Forced to retire after damaging their wing sail.
That's game over.
In Group A, the Bonds Flying Roos led the way, while the Blackfoils were strong on their return to the lead. In Group B, Artemis and the Explorer Swiss were firmly in the fight for the final. Group B opened the day, and Artemis came out strong again.
He comes out blazing towards Mark 1.
With the wind up, chaos followed. Oh, very close! Sweden held firm, took the win, and secured their place in the final.
Swiss team are going to get it done, Todd.
In Group A, Spain came out firing. Oh no!
Coming Spain, that's two
Yeah, that's one of those things I just love.
Los Gallos held off the pressure and took a crucial win. For the final race of Group B, Artemis were already through, but Switzerland held strong to take the second spot in the final. In the final Group A race, Australia were in control.
Absolute perfection from Slingsby.
While Spain and the Blackfoils battled for the last qualifying place.
They did get across in fourth. They beat Rockwell by about half a metre.
For the first time in SailGP history, it was a 4-boat final.
Oh, that's why they paid the big bucks.
All 4 came out firing, but Los Gallos took the lead. Sweden closed the gap.
At the moment, the wind whisperer feels like he's whispering.
But in a drag race to the finish, Spain held on.
Oh, what a race. I've got to say, the last 2 races today were absolutely incredible.
Los Gallos took the win in Halifax with Artemis second and the Explorer Swiss completing the event podium in third. In the championship standings, the Bonds Flying Roos still sit on the pole with Los Gallos in second and Emirates GBR in third.
They actually moved the racing 2 hours earlier on Sunday. Remember that? Because I guess, I don't know if they're worried about too much wind or not enough wind, but Maura Stevens says that the winds were very gusty on Friday. She was there for the practice race and on Saturday morning, and then the start on Saturday was scheduled late in the day, 4 to 6 p.m., when the winds were dying. Thank goodness the racing on Sunday was moved earlier, 2 hours earlier for a better time, apparently wind-wise. I guess that was more wind than was predicted later in the afternoon. So it was a hell of a finish. There is the finish of that of the 4-boat final, battling with Artemis SailGP team for the top spot. Botine, your favorite team, Julia. Do that again. Your favorite team.
I don't even know them. Never mind.
Yeah, they're still commenting about that rudder. What was going on with that wobbly rudder? But let's stick to the finals here. While the right-hand option appeared favored of the line, Los Gallos committed to a different route, backing themselves to stay on the, well, this was later in the race. The gamble worked. We really focused on nailing the lay line and staying on the foils through the left-hand turn, Botine explained. In the end, it paid off by a very small margin. Mm-hmm. So they won. They celebrated. The victory extends Los Gallos' impressive consistency in 2026 and hands them their first GP win of the season. But in every event they've contested this season, the champions from season 4 have finished on the podium, underlying their status as one of the most reliable teams in the fleet. Is that why you like them, Julia?
Yes, it's one of the reasons.
You said
that
when we were warming up before the show started. It feels like the team has really good momentum this season, said Botine. We're improving all the time. That's really encouraging. Yeah, okay. But as some of you are saying in the chat, Australia, who led at the end of day 1, still looks darn tough. Tommy Slingsby had a bit of a tough race in that final 4 on Sunday. But let's have a look.
Urging on reckless, but that incredible start pulled off by Los Gallos was the difference that got them through to the final, and then Diego Botine in the Spanish winning their first event of the 2026 season.
Yeah, an impressive feat, and there was a few things that had to go their way, but crucially they have broke Australia's streak, and that has popped Los Gallos into second in the season championships, now joint on points with GBR, but crucially ahead of them. And this is what Diego had to say when we spoke to him today.
Well, Diego, firstly, well done, but it was a real fight just to get into the final. Tell us about that battle with the Blackfoils and how that played out.
Yeah, it was a fight through the whole day today. I mean, the first race, I mean, we were on the edge on that start, and then we managed to win. So it put us in a very good position and a strong position relative to the Kiwis, because they had to put a boat between them and us to make it into the final. I think they were in a very tricky spot before that finish, and they managed to give themselves a very good possibility, which was really hard to do. So hats off to them. And yeah, in the end we played our cards, and it paid off for us for a couple of meters, so happy with that.
And you had the start of the day, it looked like a massive risk on the outside. How risky did it feel, and who made the call to go for that gap?
It was a massive risk. We were depending on the French to come a little late, and we were just 0.0 time to kill to the line, no? So also sometimes the time to kill changes a bit. So yeah, a big risk. To be honest, I was going through a line with my eyes almost closed, because I didn't know if we were going to be over the line early. But yeah, in the end, it paid off. I mean, in such a strong fleet, no, you need to take risks, and to give you a chance of winning, you need to pull them off. So happy with that. And normally you start the regattas assuming a bit less risks to put some solid scores on the board and take it from there. But yeah, obviously we knew today that to be able to beat the Kiwis, we needed to really win races, and yeah, we managed to do it.
Absolutely. And in the final as well, tell us what you think you executed well and how you managed to win the final.
Yeah, again, with four boats, everything doesn't only depend on you. You can put yourself in a position where that gives you the biggest chance of having a good start. And I think we played it well with the Swedish, and we managed to start fast again and very close to the line, and just roll the Aussies. No, but again, it's such a fine line to be able to roll the Aussies and to be first in Mark 1 in a four boats final. That yeah, you need to take risks. It has to go your way, and as I said, today we've been in many battles taking risks, and it's been going our way, so happy with that. But we need to keep our heads down, because it's not going to be always like this.
Julie has been smiling from ear to ear during that whole interview. Yeah. You want to just reach out and hug him and give him a big kiss, don't you? Your favorite.
I am. And I think that they really do work well together as a team. And I do think that boat is fast.
Well, they handled the boat. Their boat handling is right up there with probably the Australians, and doing a superb job. Bravo, Zulu, to them. Now, speaking of Tom Slingsby, they were on top at the end of day one. They won 2 of the races and looked like they were going to go through and have yet another win. They won the last 3, as you probably all know. Right. But as The Athletic reported, Australia's run came to an end. All good things must come to an end, and it's staggering that Australia's run of dominance went as long as it did. After bombing out of its home event in Sydney, Slingsby and company dominated the Americas across the past 3 events in Rio, Bermuda, and New York. The way the Bonds Flying Ruse performed across the weekend in Halifax, they deserved to win a 4th event, according to The Athletic. But as good as they were in the group racing, they were uncharacteristically off their game in the finale. Quote, "We did not sail a lifted tack in that whole last lap," Slingsby told The Athletic. Quote continues, "We made a few mistakes in that last one and sailed quite poorly. We felt we deserved better after the way we had sailed in the fleet racing, but in the end, we got the result we deserved." So that Spain has ended Australia's Sail GP winning streak.
Didn't Spain win the last years?
No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. 24, Tommy, right? 2 years ago, I think, for the 4th season.
Yeah.
And I've got a little interview. And look at the crowd cheering. Tom walks through the crowd. I guess this is after all the racing's over. I'm not sure. But then Tom does a quick interview here.
Tom, day 2, Halifax. Didn't go away in the end there, but pretty awesome seeing all these fans here, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the crowd's amazing. Yeah, we had a good week, but unfortunately the final didn't go our way. Yeah, so next one, we'll do better next one.
Nice stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently a great event all around, on and off the water. Congratulations, Maura Stevens and the rest of the Canadians and all of you in and around Halifax. So overall, Australia now enjoys an 18-point lead over the two boats, Spain and GBR, who are tied for second. There are the current overall, that was the results rather from this past weekend, Los Gallos Artem. Nathan hardly talked about him, but he had a pretty good regatta. Nathan Outeridge with his Swedish team Artemis. And then Sebastian Schneider had one of their best regattas, the Swiss team.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tommy Slingsby, who is the same way you like Botine. You know who likes Tom Slingsby?
Yes.
Claire Harrington. Claire thinks a lot. Of course, Tom was with American Magic in the last America's Cup. And they've got
I like Slingsby too.
Well, you like them all.
I don't necessarily like them all.
Julia, just admit it. You like them all. Huh?
I can't help but like it.
Okay. I'm not being critical. 2026 season leaderboard. There is that 18-point advantage that Tom Slingsby has over Botine and Fletcher over the Brits and the Spanish, and then the U.S. team, which has been middling, but certainly
but
better.
doing better than it has for.
Well, yeah, exactly. Certainly did better than they did last season when they were DFL and on negative points by the end of the year. So Bravo Zulu to Tom, and he's going to be tough to beat. There's what, are there 5 more events? He's going to be tough to beat. So is there anything else on that? The next event is that the 25th through the 26th of July, we will be watching in Port. I won't be there, of course, but we'll be watching the event in Portsmouth in Great Britain for the Emirates GBR Sail GP. What's going on in the chat? We're halfway through that football game, Ghana and the Brits, and it's still 0-0, I believe. They're in a commercial now, so I keep looking up there, as you can probably see. Yeah, it's Clark is confirming it's England and Ghana 0-0 at the half, which will probably surprise a few people.
Yeah.
Now, we've been telling you about Russell, Rusty, as some people call him. I've never called him Rusty. I call him RC out of respect, the same way that Dennis Conner was known as DC. So you got DC and RC, and of course I've been to war with Russell against him as well, but we won a couple cups in 2010 and 2013. He is a leader of men and women. He's smart. He is tough, and he's a lot of fun. He's one of these few people, like Dennis was, who you walk into your office. I've said this before on the show. Walk into your office and say, Tom, you got to, whatever I was working on, you got to win this. This is because the whole campaign depends on it.
Right.
If you don't get this right and don't win this, so what, is there anything you need? Any resource? No, I'm fine. And I'll win it, Russell. Just trust me. Okay, I'm counting on you. And then I see him walk out into the yard and go over to the tugboat to Mark Turner and say virtually the same thing. Tugboat, these boats have got to be perfect. You got to prepare them. You got to fix this problem and that problem because the whole campaign depends on it. Rusty's rant. Well, he had a rant here a couple of weeks ago at some of the media, including, I think, one of our super foes, Magnus the Magnificent.
I missed that.
And it all started with this race in New York, which was a bit of a, fustercluck. And here is that
Sure,
video.
like what the U.S. did last time, Stevie. They found a window. I don't know if you can count on that every time, but they found that window at the last moment and just shot right through.
Yeah, I mean, you judge it by knowing where you want to be at a certain time and you see where the fleet's going to be. Well, in the pack this time, what's Canfield going to do from here?
And ready, swing in there. 7, 1, and coming down.
Under 20 seconds to go until the start of the third and final fleet race of the day, and then it's the event final. Where do you want to be, Stevie Morrison? Put me in the right spot.
I like where the Bonds Flying Roos are at the moment, if they can get the acceleration correct. Italy and Switzerland at the bottom of the line are going to struggle to keep themselves back on the start line. All about acceleration now.
Good pressure in 5.
Oh, brilliant by Rick Kyle. There's going to be a pile-up in the pack there. Wow.
Oh, look at that.
No, we've had a big pile-up.
Collision.
Oh, that's 3 boats.
Big collision.
Early start penalty, Switzerland.
Oh, no.
Oh, the Italians were trying to keep themselves back behind the line. I don't know if they didn't see each other or what happened there. But those boats coming in have got to keep clear of Italy, even though they were going at a fairly bizarre angle to stay back behind the line. That's disastrous for those teams.
So it's Red Bull Italy, the USA, and Budla Brazil.
Oh, it's going to be really costly for the US team. What a painful moment there.
Well, Stevie, this will be the moment that everyone will be talking about on Monday. What happened in the start box? And you called it. It was very congested. We were watching Germany looked like they were perfectly set up. And then all of a sudden, chaos.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the thing to remember here is everyone anticipates that all the boats will head towards Mark 1, but because Italy are early, Phil Robertson doesn't want to take the penalty for being over, so he then tries to sail the boat at a very unusual angle. He's perfectly entitled to do that. I think that's the first thing to say, Hannah. He's allowed to do that. But the US team weren't expecting it. They haven't got anyone down on that bottom side of the boat, so the vision, well, you can tell us, Hannah, I mean, you've been on board these boats. The vision's really not very easy if you're not on that other side.
No, and I think it's a case of just when you know that the fleet's going to be early, you've got to have someone looking down there. It's kind of easy to sit here and say that, but the Italians, they're perfectly within their rights to sail up the line if they want. So really, really difficult to see that moment.
Is it safe to say, Stevie, if you get this close in the start box with everyone trying to get the line at the right time, you've got to have an escape route when it goes bad?
Yes, a little bit, but I mean, the US did have an escape route. To be honest, they plainly didn't see the Italian boat. That's all that's happened there. And understandably, but equally, it's still with them in the fold.
Yeah, I think that's right, that the U.S. did not see the Italians, and the Italians were coming up. I'm going to go parallel to the line because they were early.
Yeah.
I'm going to start that again and not really run the video, but you see here, Richard Gladwell and a few other smart people pointed out when this happened a few weeks ago, do you see the wind direction?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the current's doing, but probably the current is also flowing from left to right.
Correct.
But the wind direction is actually not a reaching start. It's almost a broad reaching start. The wind is, as we would say, abaft abeam, which means if you're going to slow the boat down, just easing the sails probably is not enough. You got to turn up as the Italians did. And there's been a lot of criticism of this reaching start in the meantime, which has caused Rusty's rant, which we'll play for you in a minute. Afterwards, the American team put their hand up. There was a couple days after this event, Taylor Canfield said, well, that's on us. I put our hand up. We were not watching to leeward, didn't see the Italians come up. But strangely, the Italians got penalized. And we'll talk about that in a second. Larry Kennedy and others have said that reaching starts kicked off. It just got kicked off here. I don't know about that. We're still live, looking live here, John Emmett. Reaching start should have different rules. Larry Kennedy in New York City is saying, well, this, again, I don't want to play this
Sure
video.
like what the U.S. did last time,
Unless you all want to see it again. But afterwards, Jimmy Spithill, the CEO of the Italian team, was not amused, and he issued this statement. It's very frustrating for the team. We had two great races, and we're looking really good to qualify for the final. So we're obviously disappointed by what happened. Our guys were completely in the right. But the most important thing is that no one was injured, and it's amazing no one was injured. And everyone involved is okay. Now we need to make sure we get the boat back, assess the damage, and go from there. Well, as I said, there's been a lot of criticism in the media before this incident even about the reaching starts and how dangerous they are and some of the problems SailGP has had with boat collisions. There is also a feeling, as I said a moment ago, that SailGP is more interested in, as they say in NASCAR, rubbing his racing. You know, let's have some collisions, let's have some fusterclucks. And you heard one of the commentators in that video, I guess it was, I don't know if it was Stevie or if it was one of them said, what they'll be talking about Monday morning is this collision. And that rubs some of us the wrong way. You know, we'd like to see traditional great yacht racing, even in high-speed foiling boats, but we don't want to see people, hurt any more than a fair number of people have been hurt. So there was some things written about this while we were on sabbatical, and of course we were reading all this stuff, and it was carnage. It was a bad situation.
That looks awful.
And it's amazing that nobody was hurt. Now, the results of all this, according to the New York Times and SailGP, and this was what led up to it, according to the New York Times, skipper Phil Robertson realized the Red Bull Italy boat was going to cross the line too early. To avoid an early start, he turned up, and he was, as you all saw, sailing parallel to the line.
Mm-hmm.
The collision, the 27.5 meter wings on the F-50 catamarans create a massive blind spot. The U.S. SailGP team, driven by Taylor Canfield, did not see the Italians turn directions, and head up, luff up, and skewered the front of the Italian boat. Well, the Italian boat sailed over the leeward hull of the American boat. Brazil was trapped. The Mubadala Brazil team was sailing in with nowhere to go, and subsequently smashed into the back of, both the Italian boat and the American boat. The upshot of all that was that the U.S. team was disqualified from the race and handed a 7-point penalty for failing to keep clear. Canfield took, as I said a minute ago, took responsibility for the crash in a statement they issued the day or two later, stating it was on me. He did, in fact, say that. Italy was assessed. Italy, which got a lot of people scratching their heads and more, Italy was assessed 4 penalty points for the evasive maneuvers that led to the incident. In other words, they should have known, I think is what the umpires and what Russell are saying, they should have known that by turning up and sailing parallel to the starting line was going to endanger all these other boats. But again, in fairness, the wind was abaft the beam as they were coming into the starting line. And they really, how else are they going to slow the boat down? Because, and I guess what the umpires are saying, that they can't turn up and put other boats at risk. You just got to be early and take your penalty. So I don't know what's going on here. We are streaming fine, so there may be problems on YouTube. Or YouTube's working, so there's a problem with Facebook, something. Sorry that you're having problems, some of you on Facebook, but YouTube seems to be working fine. So Russell, in response to criticism in the media about this collision and all of this whole situation, Russell launched an extraordinary attack on unnamed journalists who he claims were trying to bring down SailGP in favor of the America's Cup. In an impassioned defense of the series he co-founded following the 3-boat collision in New York last month, and that's the collision again that we've shown you. The SailGP CEO released a monologue on social media on Tuesday addressing criticism of the league in the wake of the American round, meaning New York. In the speech, Coots angrily dismissed suggestions that adopting traditional upwind starts is the best solution to avoid dangerous and damaging collisions, as seen between the Italians, Brazilians, and the U.S. on the Hudson River. Now, since so many of you are so bright and so involved in the sport at not just the kind of the sailing level, but in the administrative level, I thought we should delve into this just a bit. And I'll ask you via Jody Shields, correct or crutonic, whether Russell is right or some of the media criticism is right, or both. So correct or crutonic, is Russell's rant well-founded and correct?
Yeah, there's been plenty of online chatter about the format of SailGP, and I've got to say, most of it is really uninformed and disappointingly not well thought through. Upwind starts, seriously? That just wouldn't work in SailGP. I mean, if you had half the fleet starting on starboard tack and half the fleet starting on port tack, you could imagine boats that might be overlapped on port tack with a late starboard tacker coming in. It'd be complete chaos. And so that's, having the boats all start on one tack on the reaching leg is definitely optimum. Also, if you started going upwind, a group of boats had reached the port boundary almost simultaneously, and that would cause chaos as well eventually. So it's pretty obvious, even with about 5 seconds of thinking, which clearly, some of those people didn't do, it wouldn't work. The other thing about the F50 is the crews have to change sides in a manoeuvre. So it does take a little bit more time to manoeuvre. So that's a consideration as well. And then in terms of the sports product, the whole reason why, or I think one of the main reasons SailGP is attracting a much wider audience than just the avid sailing fan base is because it's more understandable. And when we started SailGP, we did some engagement studies with audience using real racing footage. Actually, in this case, it was from one of our races in Chicago. And the understanding of the race is one of the key barriers with attracting new fans. And so the more understandable you can make it, the better. And that first reach, the start, first to the first turning mark, it's an exciting part of the race. And any fan, you don't need to be a sailing fan to understand that. Whereas if you start upwind and the boats head off in opposite directions, I can guarantee you to any new sports fan or racing fan that hasn't actually had any experience with sailing, they'll be confused by that. And we see that in other formats. So really, what's all this criticism about? It's about a couple of journalists, really, or so-called journalists, them really trying to bring down SailGP. And why? Because they think that by bringing down SailGP, they're going to enhance their favourite product called the America's Cup. And in a way, the way to enhance the America's Cup is to improve it, is to fix it, is to make it better. The way to enhance the America's Cup is not to bring SailGP down. And even if they tried, they're not going to be successful anyway. SailGP's grown too big for that now. So either way, their criticism's going to basically fail, and they should actually try and think through if they want to be considered experts in the sport, they should try and think through things a little bit more deeply than what they have. The other suggestion is that we adopt the IQ foil rule, and an F50 including the foils is almost 11 metres wide. So if a boat going faster from behind, if a boat in front came off its foils and so forth, it's going to require a pretty drastic alteration of course anyway. If they're within one boat length and you look at the math, the boat's 15 metres long, 11 metres, just under 11 metres wide with the foils, it would require a 40 to 45 degree course change anyway to avoid that boat, depending on exactly the position of the boat behind and whether there was other boats, multiple boats interfering, which would likely be the case. So it wouldn't achieve anything. In fact, the key to this is that the teams maintain a good lookout, that they know that the other boats were there. That was the main reason for the collision in New York. And that's a fundamental rule, or one of the fundamental rules of basically any seafaring, even the international rules for prevention of collision at sea. But if you're racing under the racing rules, you're obligated to keep a lookout, and that was really the problem. And so we're going to take steps to make sure that the teams will be keeping a lookout in the future.
Okay, so there was that fairly long screed rant. Well, screed's written, right? Is rant by Russell, Rusty's rant. That has, in my opinion, some merit, and then he does come off as defensive and paranoid. And the first thing, Julia, I was trying, after I saw this, a week or so ago, why is he under some pressure from sponsors? Is he under some pressure from Larry? Why did he feel the need to come out and attack these journalists? Well, one, presumably, and he said it himself, is Magnus the Magnificent, our Superfosi Magnus
and
Wheatley.
the New York Times.
Well, no, I don't think he was attacking the New York Times. I think there were a couple other Brit journalists who more or less supported Magnus's contention. But Peter Taylor says, in fact, most of you are pretty negative on Russell's rant, a terrible presentation that obscures the truth. Peter Stevenson saying, I must admit, Magnus appears not to think, but I love his journalistic style. I know Ed Worley, and there he is, Tracker 1265 on YouTube. Ed Worley loves it when Russell calls it a sports product. And the other thing I heard in there, Julia, was Russell asserting that SailGP is now too big to fail. Remember that during the economic crisis and the couple of the big banks that were too big to fail. The government can't possibly let us fail because we're too big to fail. We'd bring down a good chunk of the economy. I think, again, knowing Russell pretty well, I don't think he was reading a teleprompter. I don't think he had a script. I think he had thought about this, made up his mind, went and talked to the camera. This was on, I think, their Instagram. And, the guy, both sides of his brain works. He's making cogent arguments. He may not be right, but he's making cogent, almost emotional, overly emotional arguments for Russell. But remember, he's an engineer. Both sides of his brain work. He's not the most articulate guy in the world, but he's thinking all the time.
I keep thinking of the dimensions of those boats, with much of which is underwater.
Well, they're big, but there is also, Richard Gladwell pointed out the other day, that the T-foils in the middle of the boat extend out beyond the beam of the hulls, the width of the hulls. Ted Ryman says, Russell's job is tough. I reckon he's doing an amazing job so far. You can't always be perfect. And here is, I think, what is the key point, because in defense of Magnus and others have been saying the fleet is too big. Split the fleet into 2 6-boat or a 6 and a 7, which is, of course, exactly
what they did.
And that is, I think, the feelings of a lot of people. I don't know who BZ1GRN is. Tell us your real name, if you would, please. If everything was already optimized, why change to a split fleet format? So Peter Taylor also saying a CEO should not be emotional unless Larry has his foot on his throat. Yeah, Ed Worley says it's semi-crotonic, and he probably was also venting some of his frustrations. And I think there is a real, as you can also tell, there's a real tension, a real competition now between SailGP and the America's Cup. Ryman is saying it's not crotonic. He's just a bit peeved being chipped away at by various journos. He doesn't rant. That's true. He rarely rants.
Yes.
His approach to life, Julia, is don't get angry, get even. And as I said, I've been to war with him and against him. Oh, that's Clark Chapin, BZ1GRN. Okay, Clark, thank you for that.
I also like Henry Kissinger once told Richard Nixon, even a paranoid has a few real enemies.
I saw that comment. Now let's talk about what Magnus, the Magnificent, our Super Fozy Magnus Wheatley, said in his Rule 69 blog on Substack. I'm not going to play, Julia, the thing he wrote immediately after New York, because you probably have all read it or you've gotten a sense of what he said. But here's what he said after Halifax. And I don't know if he was going overboard to try to remove some of the angst with Russell, but I think Magnus actually quite strongly believes that splitting the fleet was good, and he thinks that Magnus, probably had something to do with pushing Russell into this split of the fleets. So have a look here in his blog of just a couple days ago, June 21st. Best regatta of the season by a country mile. Halifax had it all in what he called in his headline a watershed GP. Magnus writes, wow, SailGP just had its most compelling weekend in 6 years in Nova Scotia, and in essence, it all came down to just a very, very simple tweak to the format that many of us have been calling for season after season. Splitting the fleets and giving the F-50s room to breathe yielded the most stunning of racing and showcased the absolute brilliance of the very best sailors in the world. start after start was clean. Yet, crucially, what came off the table was the ridiculous 2 or 3 ranks, I think he means rows, but in the British sense of the word, of the fleet that the first reaching leg used to deliver, where the rich used to get richer and the poor and gas just sat in displacement. That would have been a tale of the tape had the fleets not been split, and we would have had a very different regatta. But because they split the fleets, we had quite the alternative. That was his, I think, opening paragraph, and then I'm going to skip to what was his closing. By the way, that picture, let me back that up. That is the Spanish winning the final 4-boat race, the 4-boat final, right in front of this. And again, they're reaching finish, just like they will have the reaching start so that the fans in the stands, grandstands, can see what's going on. So Magnus concluded by saying, new format, and hallelujah, we have a sports product, there you go, Ed Worley, that engages and delights. The courses looked longer and crucially wider, and yes, even though it was marginal conditions, the tactics on display and the techniques being shown were rock solid. Genuinely, I love it, and I looked at Halifax thinking, yeah, I want to visit there one day. It's a nice city, to be sure. The city must have been just as delighted with it as were the fans who came in their droves. The sports product show. Sailing should now, he's mocking Russell a little bit, and that's, again, Ed Worley's least favorite expression. Sailing should now be less of the donkey derby, Mario Kart, and more about, and more about the beautifully tactical game that it is. Let's hope it continues, because the other way was dire and dangerous. And that is Magnus Wheatley, Magnus the Magnificent, that's what MTM we call him at. Rule 69, his Rule 69 blog on Substack a couple days ago. So I would ask you the same thing. Is Magnus correct or Crutonic about splitting the fleets and how important that is and how well it worked? Okay, so I'll keep an eye on the comments. The game, England and Ghana are still 0-0, 62 minutes in to the match. The other bit of news coming out, and we'll go back and look at your comments when you have a chance to type them in to the chat. The other news was that SailGP's, all of their teams have now achieved private ownership. SailGP reaches full private team ownership. MSP Sports Capital acquires New Zealand's Black Foils, completing SailGP's transition to 100% third-party, meaning non-league, ownership across all 13 teams. So, Russell and Larry, but it's Russell's running the show day to day. Larry's got other fish to fry. Bravo Zulu. If you had said to me 5 years ago that they would have all these teams privately owned and trading, selling at fairly substantial franchise fees, I would have been skeptical at best. Now, there was another article to that end, and this was in the Telegraph in the last week or so, maybe more recent than that, and that was headlined, "The High-Speed Sport That Is the New A-Lister Obsession." The writer asserts, just as Ryan Reynolds brought Hollywood chic to Wrexham, the soccer team, Doug DeVos is planning a revolution of his own in the high-octane world of SailGP. This was a large, long article, Julian. I'm not going to reprise the whole thing, obviously, but here are a couple of the key points. What do Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway, Deontay Wilder, Sebastian Vettel, the F1 pilot, Kylian Mbappe, and Ryan Reynolds all have in common? They are all investors in SailGP, one of the fastest growing and adrenaline-fueled sports in the world, which is coming to the UK next month. In the 7 years since its inception, the league has attracted a notably diverse and eclectic ownership base with celebrity investors, Formula One drivers, sovereign wealth funds, and institutional asset managers among them. And then the article goes on at some great length to talk about Doug DeVos buying the Rockwool Denmark team. The most recent signal of that interest came earlier this year when American Magic, the America's Cup yacht racing team owned by Sports Investor and Orlando Magic, that's the NBA team down in Orlando in Florida, co-owner Doug DeVos acquired the Danish team Rockwool Racing for $60 million US, 44.5 million pounds. The highest reported valuation in SailGP's history at the time. 5 years ago, teams sold for between,
that's true,
give or take 4 or 5 million pounds, so call that less than $10 million. He goes on to say that this is the writer in the Telegraph, and DeVos is clear about where he sees SailGP in 5 to 10 years' time. Quote, I think it could be more powerful. I think we can attract a few more teams, and I think we can get to having teams who are not only an efficient operation, but a very effective attraction. Then you can build a following that isn't just showing up because they're in town. People start following the team, as we see in the World Cup. We can build that attractiveness. We build the brands with our commercial sponsors and with the teams and with the athletes, and you can start to build that following. In 5 to 10 years, the quote goes on, you're going to have people that are going to be following it, not just because of the novelty, not just because it's new, not just because some other famous folks have engaged, but they're going to be caught up in it. So asserts Mr. DeVos, Doug DeVos. Quote, they're going to pick a team and follow it from regatta. I think that's already happening.
Yeah.
They're going to pay attention to the season championship. They're going to see that we are building history. So what do you all think? I'm sorry that Facebook's not working so well today, but YouTube is apparently. Facebook video and audio are still intermittent. It must be a problem with their servers somewhere. Peter Taylor disagrees with Magnus and his assertion that that was a good event. And Peter Stevens is saying, what were you thinking, Magnus? Were you sucking up to RC after his rant, after his apparent criticism of you and a few others? So the boats are incentivized, Peter Taylor goes on to say, they're incentivized to be aggressive now, I think, question mark. The incentives seem to be misaligned. Well, they've got to, I agree with Magnus to this extent, Julia, they've got to do something to make this racing safer because we can't have any more crashes like that. We've already had people hurt and hurt badly.
Yes.
They played it down, but the lady from the French team, I think it was in hospital in New Zealand for over a week. And, people broken their legs and arms and so on. So I think splitting the fleet is a step in the right direction. I also agree with Russell that trying to use the ice boat rules or what the IQ foil rules that the Windward yacht has the right of way essentially is what that meant. I don't think that's going to work either. The other thing is, as Richard Gladwell and others pointed out, you cannot have the boat starting on a broad reach. The wind's got to be a beam or even maybe a little forward a beam so they can slow down without turning parallel to the starting line.
Yes.
So hopefully everybody's learning. I hope Doug DeVos is right. I think this has got a lot of legs and it's going well. That's Mark Souster, I believe is the pronunciation, a Brit writing in the Telegraph a few days ago. Okay, so that's our SailGP segment. Are there any other pressing comments? Peter Taylor says, yes, the racing needs to be safer. I agree. Though I don't think split fleet is the answer. We will see.
Yeah, either that or the course has to be bigger.
Well,
wider.
I have said that too. I think the courses, one of those races last weekend was only 4 or 5 minutes long. It was dreadfully short. I have asserted they should sail fewer races and have longer courses. And, whether you make them bigger, longer, wider, or more laps or a combination. Problem is, you get behind at that first mark, as several people have said, and you're sailing in dirty air, upwind and down.
Right.
Of the boats ahead of you. So Ed Worley is saying in defense, he's BZ1GRN, in defense of Magnus, Russell's Christmas card list is highly prized because Magnus said, yeah, I'm off Russell's Christmas card list again. Ed Worley also saying, well, that was, I'm now confused about who these people. Ed Worley, who's tracker 1265, says, unfortunately, with these platforms moving so swiftly in close proximity on the confined courses, there will be more collisions. John Emmett disagrees with me. He says, I like lots of races. And others are saying, no, the courses are too small, both in width and length. Ted Ryman agrees with you, Julia. The courses need to be bigger. Okay. I don't think the premise that half the boats will be on port. This was Commodore Harrington here, superb race officer and, very good sailor. She says, I don't think that Russell's premise that half the boats will be on port and the other half on starboard is valid. Every sailor on the planet knows about starting upwind and the rules that apply at the start. Split fleet, and she may well be right. If they all have to start upwind and then go to a turning mark and then reach across to the grandstands, I agree with Claire. I don't think that'd be the end of the world. I think that might be a good improvement. Peter Stevenson says split fleet is not the answer. It's shock and horror. And John Emmett disagrees with that. He's saying split fleet is a very good move. Julia, last word to you.
It's easier to watch.
When they're split.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Okay. We're an hour and 35 minutes in. It's still 0-0. So there's 71 minutes into that match in a commercial break for Home Depot. Julia.
Oh, good.
Julia.
What
happened on this day in history, the 23rd of June, 2016?
I have two relatives that were born on that day.
On the 23rd of June?
Yeah.
Are they both alive?
No.
You want a clue?
Yes.
Here's your first clue. You want another clue?
Yep.
Okay. Here's your next clue.
What was the year again?
2016.
Oh, 2016.
Recent. 10 years ago, right now. You want another clue? I mean, you know what the country is in orange.
Right.
And you know what those other countries in blue are.
Yeah.
Except for Swiss.
Brexit.
Exactly. Well done. That's the answer. Ding, 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 ding. Julia gets the answer here. And it was on this day in 2016 that the UK voted to leave the EU by a very close vote of 52 to 48. Thierry de Jong and BZ1GRN and many others, Gordon Smith, others knew, Claire, Commodore Harrington, all understood what was going on with this day in history. And the UK's membership in the EU had been a thorny issue for many in British politics, particularly Eurosceptic members of the Conservative Party. In order to put the issue to bed once and for all, in 2013, then Prime Minister David Cameron announced a plan for a referendum on the country's membership in the EU. And you say, what's this have to do with sailing? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Except the issue was not put to bed. Cameron and many senior government officials campaigned to stay in the EU, even though he put this up for a vote, while others, such as Boris Johnson, campaigned to leave. On June 23rd, 2016, the UK voted to leave by 52 to 48. This was an unexpected shock result, and David Cameron resigned as a result.
Problem was not so.
Go ahead.
Much with the idea, but the administration of it had been really awful.
And that's where it's impacted our sport as well. British politics has been in turmoil ever since. Theresa May was elected leader and has overseen the negotiations to leave, and had overseen the negotiation to leave for 3 years, only to have her deal voted down by Parliament 3 times. The original Brexit date was 29 March 2019, but this has since been postponed to 31 October, and of course, as you just all know, it didn't happen. anywhere near that fast. And now the UK's current prime minister has just resigned. He'll be gone in another month or two when they get a new leader of the Labour Party. And they've had, what, 7 PMs in the last decade?
Yes.
So it's the 10th anniversary of Brexit, as Peter Stevenson is pointing out. And for sailors trying to sail in the UK, you know, the Fastnet race and so on, trying to move across from the continent to the UK and vice versa has become a nightmare. Trying to sell boats and products, sailing, yacht racing products back and forth has been a nightmare.
Right.
And I've had long talks with, for example, Andrew McIrvin, who is not at all amused with and about Brexit. And I know a lot of our other sailing friends on both sides of the English Channel are not amused. So it has affected our sport. That is Brexit, which happened on this day when Britain voted for Brexit and the UK left the EU on the 23rd of June, 2016.
Yeah.
Let's see what the comments are on that. They're still talking about split fleet. And one issue, John Emmett is saying the issue was lying politicians and $350 million to the NHS, the National Health Service.
Yeah, I think they just really followed up the administration of that.
The execution.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well. Well, that's still going on, and it'll be interesting to see if the UK goes back in. And as again, this has affected our sport, at least in Europe and between the continent and Great Britain, rather extensively. Still 0-0, isn't it? 76 minutes in. Okay, well, that's quite a match. Julie, we're an hour and 40 minutes in for our first show after our 30-day break. We'll do a little America's Cup news here, if you will. Allow me to do that. The AC38 Cup date.
Yes.
And while we were on break, the impressive first real day for Luna Rossa, I don't know how impressive it was, in Colliery, but they do finally have their AC75 up and running. In our show a month or so ago, we I think showed you the towing tests, the tank tests that were going on. And there's a big story on the 38th America's Cup website. They're starting to do it, as Richard Gladwell and I have been talking. They're doing a lot of their own media. They're getting their story out the way they want to get it out.
Yeah, good for them.
Including Magnus, who's writing copious amounts of copy. How's that for alliteration?
Yes.
Magnus the Magnificent, writing for the America's Cup. So another story that's out on the AC38 website. Do you recognize that?
Naples.
It is Naples, and that is the Castel dell'Ovo, Castle, the Ovo, the egg? What's dell'Ovo?
Yeah, the egg.
Standing watch over the Bay of Naples for almost 1,000 years. Castel dell'Ovo remains the most enduring symbol of the city's relationship with the Med, built in a strategic position to guard the harbor and protect Naples from seaborne attack. The castle has witnessed centuries of merchant traffic, naval fleets, and sailors arriving from every corner, well, not just of the Med, but of the world. Well, I like a lot of us, I'm having a hard time not watching this game. Watch this. We'll probably all get ourselves in trouble here. Is there going to be a penalty shot here?
No.
There might be. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. That's what's going on. This nice long article, because from the 24 to 27 September, they've now announced that will be the second preliminary regatta of the LV 38th America's Cup. And the racing will be there on the Bay of Naples, even though the boats, it's not clear to me where the boats are going to be, if they're going to be around the corner in that earthquake and that caldera.
Yeah.
We'll see. We shall see. Now, finally, there's another article that I thought you'd all find interesting, and it's entitled, it's headlined, "When Will a Woman Helm in the Cup?" And of course,
a woman is already helmed in the Cup.
Back in the 30s, she did a little bit of helming, and even before that, Ms. Henn. So It's a long, interesting article. I think part of what they're trying to do is fill the void, the news void, because here's talking about the competition with SailGP. Here they are having a regatta a month, and these guys, meaning the America's Cup, they had a regatta just before we went to break. I guess it was before we went to break on the 19th of May, and now they don't have anything again until the latter part of September. So that article is up, and it's a bit of a, well, it's an article.
Did it was just a discussion without a point of view?
No, the point of view is that we're looking forward to, and we hope that there will be women in the America's Cup
Wasn't Dawn?
sooner than later. Dawn was the generous manager. She was the general manager of the French team in 2007 in Valencia.
Yeah.
And people forget that the Bill Koch all-women's team had Leslie Egnott as the skipper.
Yes.
In the 1995 America's Cup defense trials.
Oh, the trials.
But they didn't. It looked like they were going to. And then Mighty Mary, I think, was the name of the boat and the team, Bill Koch's team.
Yeah.
With all women, and then the one bearded the bearded woman who was the tactician, Dave Dellenbaugh.
Yeah.
They didn't make it into the match. I was with Dennis's team. We made it into the match and then lost 5-0 to Russell Coots, the Kiwis' first win in the Cup. So, there are some women who have sailed, and there are some women probably who are going to sail down the road.
Yeah.
Last leg, Julia.
Okay.
And that famous ditty tune. We are celebrating Scott Joplin's tune, as played by, speaking of Commodore Harrington.
Oh, yes.
Played that on her piano for us and sent it along. So we're using that as the theme music for the last leg. And speaking of the last leg, sad note here that Charlie Dillon, who was the first to finish in the Vendée Globe and then also won overall the more recent Vendée Globe, has passed away while we were on break a couple weeks ago. Dallin made his around the world day. He's won so much stuff. I've just kind of cut to the quick here. He made his around the world debut in the 2021 Vendée Globe, and impressively was the first skipper to cross the finish line with a time of 80 days, 6 hours and change. However, race officials later granted redress to skipper Yannick Bastavin. You probably all remember that. We were covering that story. Who diverted from his routing to assist in the rescue of skipper Kevin Escoffier, whose boat broke, literally, in half in the Southern Ocean. So properly so, they gave him some time, and it was 10 hours and 15 minutes of redress for his having gone off his course to try to save Bastavin. And that meant Dallin had to settle for bridesmaid honors at least for another 4 years. So he entered the most recent race, which was the 2023-2024 or 2024-2025 race. And here he is. He led most of the race. You remember that.
Yes.
We covered this rather extensively. It was a lot of fun. And he led most of the race, including at the Corn, as Paul Kayard would call it, Charlie Rounds Cape Horn, in the lead on the 23rd of December in 2024. So he returned to that race, the 2024-2025 Vendée Globe, determined to win despite being diagnosed in 2023 with gastrointestinal cancer.
Ooh.
Before the race. Dallin kept his health status secret, save for his immediate family and his health care providers, and proceeded to deliver a master class in offshore racing, all the time while treating himself for this,
Well, I'm glad
cancer.
for him, because that's infinitely better than spending it in bed someplace.
Well, exactly. I mean, bravo Zulu to him and to his family and his docs. On the 14th of January 2025, Charlie won that Vendée Globe, the most recent Vendée Globe, and all told, he commanded the lead for the vast majority of the racetrack before crossing the finishing line on the 14th January 2020. After just 64 days, 16 hours, 22 minutes, an improvement on the previous Vendée Globe record set by Armel Leclerc in the 2016-2017 edition. He bettered that by 9 days, 8 hours. Yes, and change.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Just amazing. So bravo Zulu, again to him, to his family, to his docs. Dallin realized his dream by winning that race, and he celebrated his victory, and later his status as World Sailing's 2025 Rolex Sailor of the Year. And John Emmett and some of our other foes, he spent a good bit of time with him at the World Sailing Annual Conference. So Charlie has left us, sadly, while we were on break. I'm not sure, and this is from Dave Schmidt, who's the U.S. editor of Sail World. He said, I'm not sure how much, if anything, French President Emmanuel Macron knows about offshore sailing, but he got it right with a post on X, formerly Twitter, last Thursday when he wrote of the late, great Charlie Dallin, quote, France salutes an immense sailor, a rare courage, a beacon of light on the open sea, unquote. And David said, I've spent the last few days with these words in my head, and while I never had the chance to meet or interview Dallin, same with me, this is why I like this quote so much, and David's writing, who passed away last Thursday at the age of only 42. Nonetheless, his sailing career is the stuff of absolute legend. So thanks, David Schmidt, up in the Pacific Northwest, who is the U.S. editor for SailWorld.com. And that gets us, Julia, to the D block and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Now, my pillow, which Magnus purchased in Newport, and which Commodore Harrington kindly arranged to have shipped here. But it was in a box. I think I said this on the previous show. But it was shipped in a box that had been filled with shotgun shells.
I remember that now.
And it got to Oakland. It got across the bay from us here, and in Oakland, which is, the ship, the big port, and they've got all sorts of sensors. And So over in Oakland, the package was refused for local delivery. And they sent it back somewhere in the middle of the country, and Claire's been trying to track it down.
Oh, where's Claire?
To be fair, she's got bigger fish to fry. So
I think so.
As Commodore in New York, so I'm not too concerned about it. I'm sure it will get through here, but we appreciate the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot pillow. I got some Whiskey Tango Foxtrot hats, too, that we'll show on the show at some point. Okay, Julia, here's the first one. Boat yoga. I don't know who sent this, but boat yoga, the practice of fixing things you can't reach while swearing. And when I saw this, I thought immediately of Becky Lenhart, who is our esteemed Balboa Yacht Club sailing director and has been for years down in Newport Beach. And I just want to dedicate this to her because she, in addition to everything she does at Balboa Yacht Club and for our beloved sport on and off the water, she also gets up at dark 30 and teaches a morning, or used to anyway, a morning yoga class. And she's very fit and part of that great Lenhart sailing family. Honey, do these jeans make me look fat? Do you promise not to get mad no matter what I say? Yes, of course. I bought another sailboat. We always get one of the, and several of you sent that in. I give credit.
It's a common malady.
Well, it's we celebrate another sailboat in these cartoons one way or another. It's good fun. And speaking of grandpas, some grandpas play bingo. Real grandpas go sailing, and I'm trying to get my daughter Meg to get that shirt and send it to me because I would definitely wear it. She sent me the picture, the image. Meg Eamon Schreiberg is her now married name of a couple, almost 3 years. And thank you, Megan. Congratulations again for the birth of Evie, your daughter Evie, and you and your husband Aaron. When I was young, I decided to go to medical school. At the entrance exam, we were asked to rearrange those letters, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to read the letters?
Mm-hmm. P-N-E-I-S.
What do you think that forms?
Penis.
You think? And form the name of an important human body part which is most useful when erect.
Spine.
Those who answered spine are doctors today, while the rest are on Facebook. Okay, I'm going to tune back into this game at 0-0, and we're in extra time here. They got 6 minutes to go here past the 90-minute mark. And this may end up being a draw. We shall see.
Yeah.
Okay. Snipe. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's clever of Gordon Smith.
Mm-hmm.
S-N-I-P-E. See, if you were a sailor, that's what you would spell. But that's not a part of the human body that's most useful when erect, Gordon Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's that. Guess who that came from? That was the cleanest one he sent to me, so I went
Oh,
with
yes.
it.
Yeah, Ryman.
From Ted Ryman. Finally, I just want to say that despite rumors that I'd had a heart attack or was, some otherwise disposed, I've been at the yacht club every Friday night during the break, save maybe one, having a fake beer and enjoying the ambiance at St. Francis Yacht Club, the beautiful place that it is, one of the nicest views in the world. Dinner every Friday night at our local club. So just thanks to all of you who've had concerns that either Julia or I were somehow waylaid or croutonic. But I also want to add that never explain and never complain. As the former great Prime Minister of the UK said, Benjamin Disraeli. Finally, Blake Middleton is also having some health struggles, but I talked to him the other day. He's doing okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's doing okay. And he likes this one that all the smartest people, including Einstein, as we know, sailed at the back 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my beloved father, who says at age 93, still says this, sailing isn't for everybody, but it is for anybody. And that's also a theme of this show as we get to the finish line, where Julia likes to say,
yes, be sure to like and follow and share this right now.
As Clark Chapin has already done at the top of the show and has reminded others to do the same. It helps with our algorithm. It helps spread the good word. We appreciate it very much. Also, we like to say thank you to all of you who are patrons who have joined via patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Just thank you so very much for your wonderful support. We get a few $100s a month, and that helps pay our fees, our streaming fees, our equipment fees. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy another monitor. I don't think I have enough displays here, Julia. Yeah, and then thank you to everybody who let us have audio, video, and images for today's show, including this long list of esteemed people in our beloved sport, and a lot of FOSI who also contribute to the sport, and to all of you saying a vasectomy is a snipe. Oh, Peter Stevenson's very clever. I was watching when I was putting this. By the way, I'm sure I told you this. For the last X many years, putting these shows together has been a real pain. I love doing the show, but putting the show together is not fun, and it takes a couple days. And this show was fun to put together. So having the break, coming back, I was energized, as maybe you can tell online, but I really enjoyed putting the show together, putting that keynote together, and digging up the sources. So thanks to all of you for letting us have a break. Much appreciated. And we'll do it again on Fridays. We are our usual Tuesday and Friday shows at 1300 Pacific. We hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now. You can wave too, Julia. We'll do our little wavy at the end of the show. Yeah, I can't leave this game, Julia.
Oh,
Corner kick by the Brits didn't work. We're in the last minute of extra time.
Mm-hmm.
This is indeed looking like a draw, and I don't want to get a copyright strike, but we'll see. In the news reports immediately after we get off the air. Thanks again, everybody. Ciao for now.